course I have plants indoors. You didn't think I would have plants outdoors without having plants indoors now, would you? This is an avocado tree. Okay, that's a pine, Norfolk pine if I remember, some Hoyas and some holiday cactus, and ficus tree, and kalanchoe that needs water, more Hoya, another ficus. Mint that I need to get planted out, and my aloe vera. Lemon tree, oh so pretty. Little raspberry plant. Some starts that I'm working on. And beets. I've planted a couple of these out already, and I need to plant the rest of them out, but a little bit at a time. My raspberry plants. Sometimes they make berries again in the fall. I don't know if they will this year or not. A lot of the berries dried up this year because it got hot. And they dried up before they could get all picked. That happens. Okay. I'm thinking about transplanting this out to the mound. It's rue. I don't ever use it for anything, but I got some of it here anyway. And there's some mint down in there too that always just kind of stays in this area. And over here some hens and chicks over in this corner. Blackberries have been very prolific this year. There's still a lot of them in here. I trimmed my grapes so that the bottom part shows they look a little more like grapevines. Still some beans coming on down here.
How's it going, Joe?
Okay, a little bit of an interruption while we chatted with a neighbor for a while. Here's a zinnia. Oh, and a little sunflower. I don't know if I can find it again in here somewhere. There was a little clump of grapes coming on. But I don't know why. I should have put something in here so I could remember where they were. My worms are doing fine. Later, when they're in the shade, I'll come out and give them some food. Got got some weeding done in my garden, so it looks a lot better. There's still grass coming up, but it isn't quite as prolific as it was. And I've got some tomatoes ripening. I think these little yellow ones, they're quite good. I'll go ahead and pick this one, pop it in my mouth. That's good. There's some turning orange. They'll be red before you know it. And this little bush always gives me. Yeah, those are good. Those go in my mouth too. Such a different flavor from the other one. I like them both. I like how this rhubarb has done real well. Things are looking good here. My little flower patch. Decide what I'm going to plant in the middle here. I have lemon balm and mint, and there's a coral bell under there somewhere, and an iris, as you can see, and then the daisies and the, I forget the name of, and some petunias. And our flag. Excuse me. Interesting color of pink, kind of a dusty rose color. And that one's kind of a neon pink. Yellow and a pink. This is the first year I've grown zinnias. I like them. I'm not sure why this is up top here. That's not where that belongs. Put it down here. This tree is kind of artistic. I like it when I see art in nature. Okay, I'm over here by my compost pile. And that's looking good. Some blooms on my pitiful cucumber plants, but look here, I've got lots of tomatoes in there, and some are starting to get red. I think these are my healthiest looking tomatoes, and I didn't know if they do well because they get a bit of shade in the afternoon. And I actually have one corn that has a tassel on it. I hope the rest of them do, and I hope I actually get some corn. That would be really nice. Oh, I see another one that's starting to tassel. 2 corns that have tassel. Oh, there's another one. 3. So, who knows? Just because they tassel doesn't mean I'll end up getting some corns. But it sure would be nice if I did. I'm going to plant daffodil and tulip bulbs along here. I had daffodil bulbs, and for a couple of 2 or 3 years they looked really nice when they came up in the spring. And this spring they didn't show up, so I don't know what happened. So I'm going to replant some bulbs. And this corner has potential. It's shady quite a lot, so I can put things in here that don't require as much full sun. Feels like that's a tomato plant, but it never has really grown much. These are looking okay right here. And then these are my sunchokes. And a couple of potato plants. I need to come and see if anything developed in the way of it growing potatoes. I need to come out here and get all the grass out from underneath the rose bushes here. Always something to do. Always, always. Oh, what happened here? That came off. I'll have to let my hubby know. Those are my sweet potatoes, petunias, fennel, red vein sorrel. These are my blueberry bushes. This rose is a pretty pink. We still have the mound to look at. Yeah, I needed to go get my shoes so that I can go around there on the gravel. But I thought I'd sit and talk to you for a little bit before we go over there. Right here, I have my sprayer that has neem oil in it. I made the concoction. I think he might have put some soap in there with it. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him. But I see some apples on our tree that are starting to get a bit of a blush on them. It doesn't look as loaded as sometimes, but there's still a few apples on there. See if I can zoom in so you can see it. Yeah, I think you can see some of the apples coming on there. I remember last year I sat here and watched a bird make a nest and have babies. I haven't noticed anything like that this year, but I have seen a bunny rabbit, and my husband said that not only was there a bunny rabbit, that there were baby bunnies. And the other day, he actually saw one that was dead, so we don't know what happened to it. Well, here we are out at the mound again. Those unknown squash type plant seeds coming up fast. Goodness, they're coming up fast. And the ones I planted in the spring are not doing much of anything. Look at all those. Oh, you know what? There, you were looking at me. Okay, now I'll show you the squash plants. Those calendulas, I showed them to you the other day before I picked them. They're ready to pick again. Look at all those. Sunflowers getting ready to bloom. And beans are growing good. Sunchoke is growing good. I need to do something with the pots that I put out here. That one's doing okay. It's got rhubarb and something else in there. Look at all those. Beautiful, beautiful. To come out here later and pluck them. My weed patch. Potatoes are looking good down there. This petunia bloomed. Hope it blooms some more. Need to come out and cut these all off. Butterfly bush is doing okay. This is my thistle patch. Jeez. Echinaceas. All those are looking good. There were lots of blooms on this the other day. They're kind of getting spent here, looks like. Something ate my radish plants, but I noticed some little green tufts coming back, so maybe they'll be all right. And then there's some, I think this is chard that I planted. Could have been, might be beets, but I think it was chard. Well, we just did what I think you would call chop and drop. If you saw this, I think I showed it to you a little bit ago. My husband just took his weed trimmer, or not weed trimmer, the branch trimmer. I don't know, it's a thing, a long blade with, it's a trimmer. Maybe it's just called a trimmer. It's not a weed eater, it's a trimmer. Anyway, he chopped all this down, and we decided to just leave it here. It'll turn into mulch, but that looks better. Well, I'm sure there were a few things in my garden that I didn't show you, but I showed you more of it than I've showed you for a while. Things are looking good for it being a small garden. I don't know, my garden doesn't get big and lush like a lot of the gardens I see you all posting, but it's still satisfying. And I am hoping that every year it gets a little better. I've been doing this for a number of years now, and it does get a little better every year. So soon we will be having tomatoes, as you saw. My stuff's all running later than a lot of people's. I'm in zone 6B, I believe, if I'm figuring out my zone correctly, which there doesn't seem to be. I don't know where they get their weather stations for figuring out the zones, because we have a weather station that's posted on Weather Underground, But obviously that one doesn't count for anything when it comes to figuring out zones, because when I put in our zip code, it puts us in the neighboring town, which is about 10 miles away. But their microclimate's like totally different from ours. And if I put in the town on the other side of us, the towns, well, there's 3 towns on the other side of us, and they're all small. Well, they're all small except for Pendleton is what I call a big town. It's really small. It's like 17,000 people. And Walla Walla on the opposite side of us, I think there's probably closer to 20,000 or more there. Maybe more. But then there's some little towns like Milton Freewater is the one that the zip code, when I plug in my zip code, it pops that up for the zoning. And I would say they're probably a couple of weeks ahead of us in the spring, and maybe behind us in the fall. So I can't really go totally by that. I just have to go by my intuition and use that as a kind of a guide. So I think I probably have anywhere from, probably have about 3 weeks left before we could get a frost. So that's not much longer. So I hope my tomatoes, I think I talked about it in my last video, what I'll do if the tomatoes aren't all ripe yet by the time we get a frost. But it's going to get in the high 80s again today. It's a bit of a breeze, so it feels pretty good right now. We still have temps in the 80s all this week, and I haven't looked at next week's forecast yet. I love to watch hummingbirds. He took off there. That one, I see that one is empty. I have to get something in there for him. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. I hope you're having a good weekend or a good day. I can't assume that you're going to be watching this on the same day that I'm posting it. So whatever day you're watching, I'm hoping that you're having a good day. Thank you for letting me share my little walk around my garden and yard with you. I enjoy doing that. I will see you on the next video. And until then, may the good Lord richly bless you. Bye.